senior year in high school. I saw a great glossy advertisement for, hey, join the Navy, see the world kind of thing. And I looked at it as a way to be able to fund my education, do an ROTC scholarship, and get where I needed to go. And then I would say probably then the rest is history, all the way up through my command tour, through 20 years of naval service, and then at that point decide, okay, what's the next step? And I think that's where the transition for me really occurred, as I started thinking more and more about, if I've got a family and kids. The second big deciding factor for me at that point was looking ahead to what I want to do, because when you're 40, you're not very old, really. I mean, even though you were the old man, I was the old man on the ship, and it was, you sort of felt a little old sometimes, but as soon as you walked out into the grocery store around and you looked around, you didn't feel so much of the age. But understanding that there was 20, 30 more years of career work ahead of you, looking at when I wanted to make the transition from a military career to something else. So really starting over is kind of how I looked at it. You're making a huge decision based on things that you're just thinking about and don't really know. So the Navy is extremely intense, as I'm sure all the services are, as you're going through your professional career, and you're exposed to certain things, but certainly not exposed to industry. I mean, you have a particular job. I mean, certainly, the submarine can't be any more confining than any place practically in the world, right? So you're not exposed to the daily news events when you're deployed or underway at sea. You're not exposed to business-to-business relationships. You're not exposed to purchasing and supply chain management and all the things that go into the business operations of the world. And so you look at, hey, how can I take what I know and apply that? Or maybe I want to try something else or do something else. It's just, you can't really find a niche that matches directly with what you're doing in the service. You really have to kind of start over. And so the decision isn't easy, certainly, but on the other hand, you know that you can't stay in the Navy forever. I sent my resume into, I don't know, a dozen or so different places, looking for things that would fit. This particular job that I wound up taking was, one of those friend of a friend kind of things. I would love to have said, hey, there's 10 different offers on the table and let's go do all this stuff. There wasn't. Working my way through my career is the USS Trepang. I was fortunate enough to find a small company, I think, who really valued my experience without really looking for any particular set of skills to bring to the company, other than, hey, this is a great experience. You've proven that you can do just about anything, and we're going to ask you to do some things and let you go and go do it, which I think is, it was lucky for me in a way, but at the same time, as I look now 5 or 6 years down the line, it's still difficult in my position to say, okay, well, what if I want to go somewhere else? If you want to go somewhere else, still you look in industry, you've got a relatively short track record associated with what you're doing. Or if you go to a company and the company's shrinking, the economy's tough, and you wind up off to the side, your resume looks pretty short. I do kind of feel like at some points now, when I talk to folks, that the military part of your career is sort of a little side note, and again, it was almost feel like that was just sort of, you were marking time in your professional career a little bit. I think it would be very challenging to be, kind of out of work, looking for the next job, trying to, leverage what you've learned maybe only in a couple of years in industry.